It's almost as if I'm listening to the same melody but with a richer timbre and new variations added.
Lantern Rite's my favorite Genshin event, and I just finished this year's event in version 3.4. Well, at least part 2 of the event, and wanted to just give some thoughts on it since we got so many meaningful interactions between characters and also more lore to the adepti, including Guizhong and Madame Ping. I know there's an epilogue remaining, but I felt that part 2 was a great conclusion that was enough for me to make this video. If I find substantial information in the epilogue, I'll be sure to make another video on it, so feel free to subscribe for my future content. Something that Hoyoverse has been doing since the second Lantern Rite is giving cameos and interactions to pretty much all of the Liyue cast, which is great, since it makes the festival much more alive and meaningful. To start off, we are encouraged by Zhongli to collect some nascent bamboo shoots in Qixing village. Wow, find us some people who hype us up as much as Zhongli hypes up bamboo shoots. In Qixing village, we meet Yaoyao for the first time and a musician from Fontaine, Dvorak. I really like Yaoyao's character. She's very mature and polite, and her intro scene reminded me of my early days exploring Liyue and its environment for the first time, since I remember how lost I felt exploring Liyue and meeting all these cool characters. There's a certain kind of energy that Yaoyao presents that I feel is distinct from the other Liyue characters, so she's a welcome addition to the cast, especially since the Liyue cast is my favorite group of characters. Dvorak is likely based after the real-life Czech composer Antonin Dvorak, and he wants to promote the Iridescence Tour, one of Fontaine's biggest music festivals. But his more personal goal is finding out who exactly is the fairy lady, the one that has saved his ancestors from drowning long ago. It's heavily implied that when he was in Mondstadt, Venti helped subtly lead him to Liyue, and this begins the main plot for this Lantern Rite. Who is the fairy lady that saved his ancestor, and what was that beautiful melody? Which is an endearing story because he wants to promote a music festival while also figuring out the truth behind the melody from the past. This leads us to ask around in Liyue Harbor. Xinyan wants to help Dvorak promote the Iridescence Tour at Lantern Rite with a music festival. We meet with Madame Ping and raise the question again of if having a music festival would be too modern for Liyue's more traditional culture and festivities. But we're reminded that it's good to try new things, so the main accommodation is that the music festival will be the final part of Lantern Rite, sort of as an extra add-on, while we keep the current traditions. We say Happy Lantern Rite to Yaoyao, which looks like that's the conclusion we say to any character that's had their final dialogue during this event. So every time we wished characters well, I was thinking, oh, I guess that's the last of their dialogue. Even the Qixing aren't too sure who the mysterious fairy lady is, but the main hunches are that she's likely an adeptus. After helping Yelan with a quick investigation, we come back to Yujing Terrace and meet with Ningguang real quick to see what this year's Mingxiao lanterns are, which are based on a goose. So it's a Cloud Retainer reference. And we start part 2, a single harmony for an irreplaceable soul, which is a clear reference to what we eventually learn about the fairy lady. We go see Cloud Retainer for any ideas, but she's not there. Paimon suggests a dumb idea to pretend to drown to recreate the scene, which I find dumb because I don't think it's cool to pretend there's danger when there's not. So I'm glad that when Xiao and Shenhe rescue us, Xiao calls out this behavior because it creates unnecessary worry. It's cool how close Ganyu and Shenhe have gotten, where Shenhe is able to spend more time in the harbor because Ganyu helped her get work, and Shenhe even has her own home. When asked about music, Shenhe shares that her interpretation of music is that it's something that helps evoke past memories and feelings in people, and so for her, the sounds of nature is music to her ears because she's lived outside the city for much of her life, and yet is slowly becoming more acquainted to the city. For Ganyu, she's gotten used to Liyue Harbor's melodies because she's acquainted herself with the harbor for hundreds of years now. But also, she doesn't know much music besides the everyday sounds of the harbor because she works so much, since she doesn't have time to listen to new music. But it's cool that she recognizes that she wasn't familiar with the music at the start because she was struggling to fit in, and now is more comfortable with it, so it's good self-reflection on Ganyu's part. That the sounds of Liyue Harbor is something that everyone can experience together, not just humans or adepti. We finally see Cloud Retainer again, and she has a hunch to the mysterious fairy lady, bringing us to Guili Plains. to which I immediately suspected that it would be Guizhong, but as we soon see, there's a slight twist to things. The story teaser about Guizhong and Madame Ping is probably the most interesting to me because it finally reveals to us a lot of lore that I felt was highly wanted from our adepti. We see the character designs of Cloud Retainer, Guizhong, or the god of dust Hagendis, and Madame Ping, or Streetward Rambler. I think the story teaser is worth watching on its own, but I just really appreciate seeing all of their relationships fleshed out with each other, how each had their own unique flair and quirks. One interesting point is the Cloud Retainer didn't like Rex Lapis's square teacups, so it's cool that in all of the EPs and modern assets today, the cups we see are non-square and more circular. Seeing all of their interactions also makes Zhongli's famous Osmanthus wine quote just hit more differently in the feels because we are finally seeing those who share the memory. With how close Ping and Guizhong were, it makes it more clear that when Madame Ping thinks about Glaze Lilies today, it's her remembering her dear friend Guizhong. The cleansing bell that Guizhong created that Ping has kept to this day is a memento of Guizhong. So, it's revealed that while the melody came from the cleansing bell, it wasn't Guizhong that saved Dvorak's ancestor, but it was Madame Ping who had been playing the tune. We talk with Madame Ping about this, who confirms it was her, and she also talks about Guizhong for a bit and emphasizes how Guizhong was very fond and admiring of humans and their potential, which echoes one of the themes in Liyue's Archon quest. Something else that's wonderful about reminiscing is how it also connects old friendships again. Cloud Retainer and Ping haven't seen each other for so long, but they're able to reconnect because of talking about Guizhong again. Dvorak's a brief character, but I'm happy for him that he finds out the truth of his ancestor. To find Zhongli, we ask Hu Tao, who's been prepping with Shenhe and Yunjin for the music festival, which is awesome to see. I love the friendship between them, and I don't have much else to say here, but I'm sure that Hu Tao's voice actresses had a lot of fun with the rapping. We find Zhongli with Mountain Shaper and Mooncarver at Mount Hulao, where they're reconnecting with each other. I wish we got more thoughts from Zhongli about Guizhong and such, but I'm sure that we'll get his thoughts in a future Lantern Rite. I don't have much else to say for this scene, but I think yet another one of Zhongli's statements is a good takeaway.
The past should be remembered, but not overly dwelt upon. Our journey should be seen as a means to take on more from the world around us.
And yeah, we go back to the harbor to catch the music festival, which is wonderful and fantastic. I'll just let it play here in the background and let it speak for itself. Lantern Rites always make me teary, and I think it's a strong indication of how invested I am in these characters and their stories, so I'm glad that Hoyoverse puts a lot of effort into these stories. To go back to Dvorak's quote, I think for me, since I'm Chinese and celebrate Lunar New Year, Lantern Rite is special to me because it's nice having an annual event where the customs and atmosphere is similar to what my family celebrates. So I always look forward to Lantern Rite every year. I do feel that all of these character dialogues and interactions fleshes them out more, and even gives some of them character progression as they reminisce about the past and embrace it, yet still moving forward to the future. And yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts on this event. So yeah, happy Lantern Rite to everyone, and also happy Lunar New Year to those who celebrate it. So thank you for watching this video, and as always, till next time, take care.